Love the way these old Norfolk estates are laid out. There's lots of beautiful shrubs and trees everywhere. It's a lovely specimen there, a blue cedar, although I think that lost quite a bit of its trunk in the gales last October. Some very nice foxgloves, what's remaining of them underneath there. It's been a good summer for foxgloves. Morning. Alright, don't speak then. The funny thing about these estate lakes is that they're very underfished here in Norfolk because of the fact that you have to walk such a long way from the car, but they're wonderful places to be when you get here. There's lots of lovely trees around here. Some very old oaks and sycamores and planes. There's a funny great hole in this one. I bet there's some bats up there. Can't see anything. Oh, not far to go now. Bit of a breeze blowing up. I hope it doesn't spoil the way I actually want to fish today. There's lots of Frisians in this field. I hope they're all cows. I can't see a bull. Morning. There's no need to be frightened of me. Number 67. I've got a sneaky idea this is going to cause me to fish off the dam. Careful over the electric fence, Wilson. Oh, nearly. Got a flyer. Oh dear me, that's a bit of a pain. This wind's belting down the lake from left to right, and I wanted to fish on the left of the lilies there, but there's such a lot of undertow on these shallow lakes that it'd be suicidal. So I think I'll go up to the dam end and fish into the wind, and then I'm going to get better bite registrations. It's lovely and pretty through here. A lot of ragwort and willow herb and one or two poppies about. Beautiful spot this. Hope it doesn't affect my hay fever. It's been a particularly bad year this year for the old hay fever. After that long walk I'll be glad to sit down. Let's listen to the old clock tower back in the village. Lovely, that sound. It's very clear around this end of the lake. Enormous great swan mussels. They've got to be 8-9 inches across, some of those. Wish this weather would make up its mind. It doesn't know what it wants to do. Typical Norfolk weather. The sun's gone in and the wind's brought a few clouds over. It could be in and out all day though, I think. Yes, I think this is the best spot by far. Although the ripple's not due down the lake. Oh, look at that. Why on earth anglers leave litter, I don't know. It does annoy me. Beautiful place like this, people fish it and they leave litter. I always take it home in case somebody thinks it's mine. Yeah, I think the wind's moving more across the lake than down it. I was a bit wrong with my decision there, but I think what I'm going to do is fish from about here, and then I can angle the rods up the lake, and I can perhaps cover one along that reed bed and one on the lily if I want, and then one right up. Okay, let's get the gear out. Ooh, lovely. Nice big fat juicy lobworm. I always like to hook them through the top part like that. That's a wriggler, that one, isn't he? And then I'll fill the feeder up with lightly dampened breadcrumbs. Actually, the setup here is very simple. It's just my normal fixed pattern. I'll do the hook link and the line are tied to the top of the swivel, and from the bottom comes the feeder link. Use that for most of my still water ledgering. This one I'm going to put about 50 yards out. I've got the rod on my right about 30 yards. It's a case today of search for them. What I must do is sink that line well after casting. Otherwise you get a lot of problems with underwater tow. Once it's got a bit soggy, that'll start to sink quickly on its own. If it doesn't, I've got some washing up liquid to do it. That's better. Oh. Right. Well, I've got both rods out there now. Got a bunch of brandlings on the other rod. Hello, we got a bite straight away. By the jag, it feels like a tiny little perch. I've got a lot of good perch here during the winter months, but I've never really fished much here in the summer, and I thought we might have a go for the Tench today, and one of the two good rudd that are in here, and we've got a little tiny stripey. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Oh, it's not much bigger than the worms I was using. Oh, it's had them all. Look at that. Whoops. Predator in miniature. Have another scan of those reed beds, see if we can... No, there's just a couple of dozen coots with their young diving. Can't see any bubbles at all. I catapulted some corn out along those reed beds earlier on, but no bubbles on that. We've expected a tench maybe, or a good rudd to put in an appearance. You never know what you're going to catch in this lake. There's also quite a few pike. I think what I'm going to do is give this an hour, and if the worms don't produce something decent in the way of perch, and I think I might pop back to the car and get the lure rods and try some spinners and some plugs. We'll give it a while yet anyway. Every now and again I feel a little tiny twinge as I'm trying to sink the line. I think I got one then. No. Oh yes. There we are. That was a little one. It's amazingly, they're on those worms within seconds. Greedy little devils. What have I got to do to catch a big one? I think this is the same one each time. They're all about 6 inches. No rudd, no tench, just these little tiny perch. They are like peas in a pod. He hasn't left much of my worm either. Whoops. Right. There you go. Try a bunch of brandlings. Lovely baits these are. They wriggle a bit too much though sometimes, and they tend to come off the hook rather easily, so what I like to do is put a bunch of them on and then tip it with a couple of maggots, and then that stops the brandlings coming off, but it does add some attraction. Look at that. Wouldn't you go for that? Let's try a long cast this time. Can't go too far because you end up shaking half the brandlings off on the cast. I always prefer bobbins to monkey climbers. A lot of people say to me, why don't you use monkey climbers instead of bobbins? Now and again when it's very windy I wish I did, but for the most part I like bobbins because you can alter the weight. Today for instance, because of this crosswind, I've got 3 large shot on the bobbin line to help hold it down. Otherwise I'd be forever striking at false bites due to the surface drift. Well, this is slightly better. Feels it anyway. I don't think it's a monster, but it's got that horrible eel feeling about it. I hope it's not an eel. No, it could be a good perch. Let's have a look. Hello, the other one's going now. What is it? Oh, that's a better perch. Isn't it marvellous? It never rains, it pours. No, he's not that big. Let's hit this one and leave it there for a second. No, we missed it. Oh, I don't think I need the net for this one. He's a bit better though. Yes, there we are. Oh well. It's about the best I can seem to muster today. Pretty fish. Stocky. Lovely back fin, look at that. There you are. Well, I've got virtually nothing left in good worms here. Oh, there's one. I think I'll have this one cast and then I think I'll go and get the boat out and do some lure fishing. Perhaps we can interest some pike. Perhaps get through to a better sized perch on lures. Right, this is my last cast. I'm going to have to keep varying the angle of retrieve here because there's not a lot of water to cover and I don't want to keep going on the same angle to spook anything. Hello, we're in straight away. Now, what's this? Sorry. It's I think it's a perch that's probably no, I thought it was smaller than the spinner. It isn't. It's it's slightly bigger. Look at that. Would you believe it? And it's got all three treble hooks in its jaws. Well, I don't know. We've got a 2.5 inch spinner on. We've tried worms, and all we can get is these little tiny perch. What are we going to do? Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to keep plugging away, because somewhere out there is a biggie. Get out. It's very shallow down there. There's a lot of weed there as well. A lot of this green soft blanket weed on the bottom. Really, thankfully to the rain during the last few weeks, it's we're fortunate there's not more. Right, one long cast across the lake and then I think I'll move a few yards. Well, I don't know, I've tried every lure in the box. I've used up all my worms and I can't get past these little tiny perch. We just had that one about 12 ounces. It's so frustrating when you know the bigger ones are here, but there's so many small fish that it's one of those days you just can't get through them. I had one clonk that I thought was a good fish, but there we are. Right, well, we've had enough of this. Let's go and have a look at another summer's lake and see how the techniques and the fish differ there. Now, this may look like a lake, but it isn't. It's a very, very beautiful, mature gravel pit. And there's lots of fish. There's some roach, there's some rudd, there's some big tench, a good sprinkling of carp. And I've already got the gear set out there amongst the reeds, and all I need to do now is to wade out to it, and it's rather precarious too. These reeds here are sitting on quite substantial rootstocks, and I'm going to have to be very careful here. This particular pit, like all those along the Wensum Valley, was in fact dug during the last war for the local airfields in Norfolk. And it's rather up and down. This is why you've got deep clear patches and then bars where these reeds come up. To be very careful here. There's a lot of silt on the bottom, and of course in the last 45 years it's had a good old time to accumulate. It's very rich in bloodworm, which is why the bream and the tench and the carp and everything else grows to quite large proportions. Ooh. There's very, very little actually, in fact, of the clean gravel bars left, only where the reeds are here. Have to be very, very careful this last little bit here. It's just starting to come up now. Oh, it's beautiful and sunny. Let's hope it stays like it. We've had such a lot of bad weather lately. Here we are. Right, we'll switch the buzzer on and get that out a fair distance there so I can give a good old strike and pick a bit of line up. There we are. Already got the float rod set up. I think what we'll start with is corn on the float rod. They really respond well to corn in this particular lake. Mine, the small fish do too, which is a bit of a problem, but then so do the tench and the big rudd. You just have to try and go through them. I've already put a lot out here, some corn, a little bit of mashed up ground bait and this, that and the other. There we are. We'll get the feeder out on this rod. I've got a simple fixed paternoster on here, an open end feeder, 10 hook, 4-pound hook link, the reel line 6-pound. I'll start off I think with 3 grains of corn. It casts quite well, and it usually stops the attentions of small fish, although small bream and small roach can still take it. I like to have a good old plug of breadcrumbs, half a handful of corn behind it, and another plug of breadcrumbs. Now then, let's see where they're... Oh, there they are. Do you know, there's a lot of fish fizzing out there. And they're not that far either. I'm going to make this cast fairly short. In fact, the shorter I can get them in on this feeder rig, the better, really, because of the weed situation. I can't float fish through it because there's just too much weed there. Little twitch on the float rod then. I'm going to hit that if that goes again. Probably small stuff though. Now I've got a very short bobbin hang on this. This is another reason for using bobbins. There's no way you can use monkey climbers when you're wading, although a lot of people do like to use monkeys. One of the nice things about being in the water is you can wash your hands straight away. It's great. Sometimes you've got nothing to wipe them on. Never mind. Let's catapult a bit of corn out there by the float. And I'm going to catapult some as well. Out where that feeder's gone, there's a lot of fish moving through that weed there. A lot of fish there. The only snag is they're very, very difficult to get out in this thick weed. It's not heavy weed in itself, it's quite soft weed, but it's so thick that it puts a lot of strain on the tackle. Oh, oh, here we are. I brought that closer in there, and well, I wonder if they are close in. Yes, it's a tench. Come on. God, got some power, these little tench. It's a little male, I think. That really is motoring. Come on, my son, in you come. Oh, he's all covered in weed. There's a lot of weed on the bottom. Take the slack off the reel. Oh, yes. Lovely little male tench. Look at those fins. Can't be mistaken for anything else. Male tench like that. Spoon shaped they are, absolutely spoon shaped. There we are. Fish of about, oh, I don't know, 2.5 pounds. Oh, well, that's better. There's 1 or 2 bubbles coming up out of there. So they're not really fizzing as I'd like them to. They're not really getting their heads down and rooting about. Oh, a good carp's just moved over there. Look at these, dozens and dozens of damselflies all flying around my rod. Very pretty though, very pretty. Well, it's as I suspected, the wind's finally here and I've got a real facer, but then again it might, it's changing conditions, might bring the tench on. They've been very twitchy up until now. I'm going to try and keep the feeders at shorter range as I can because of the weed. Well, one of the problems with this weed, there's so much of it there with bite indication, is that as soon as the feeder goes down, the hook link is probably entangled around a bit of weed before the tench ever finds it. And so it's only got to move a few inches with the bait in its mouth before it feels resistance. And so I think I'm going to have to start hitting the tiniest little twitch on the bobbin, whether it's I think that it's a line bite or not. Try and be consistent. At least the wind is facing me, so I can keep accuracy quite good. There's nothing to the side at all, and it's going to help sync the line with the float rod. So although it's seemingly difficult conditions, it might actually improve the situation. I'm glad at least it's a facer, it's something. Oh, hello, got a twitch on the feeder then. Yes! But I've got some power, these tench. Oh, the weed, it's trying to get in the weed as well, because you've got to try and keep it up there. Not the basser then. No, it's not ready yet. Oh. Come on, my baby. Yes, gotcha. Oh, they are biting out there. I think this wind has definitely helped undo the line there. Right, oh, it's a young female, I think, by the look of her. Not enormous, but covered in weed. That's the problem out there. That weed is really a problem. There we are. Oops. It's in nice condition. Well, as summer lakes go, I haven't been able to get the big ones that this particular lake holds today, but really I think most people would be happy at the end of the day with a brace of tench like that. Aren't they lovely? Right, away you go.